in the concerned court under section 354, 354A and D, and the court proceedings will start shortly. And there was another case under POXCO in which we have filed the cancellation report based on the statement given by the complainant, who was the father of the alleged victim, as well as on the statement of the victim itself.
One FIR, we have filed the cancellation report before the Patiala House Court that has been ordered to be placed before the special judge on 4th of July. Here in this very Raujabanni court, we have filed the charge sheet, and the charge sheet will be now placed before learned CMM Raujabanni for further proceedings.
Well, good evening. Thanks a lot for staying with us here at CNN News 18. You're watching Nation at 5 with me, Ridhima Bhatnagar. The big story that we're tracking at this hour, India is bracing for the impact of Cyclone Biparjoy. We're understanding the landfall is expected anytime between 6 to 8 p.m. today evening. Gujarat is already on high alert. The areas of Saurashtra and Kutch also on high alert. Multiple teams on the ground to try and ensure that the damage after the impact is minimum. Many teams within the NDRF, the SDRF have been working round the clock to evacuate people. Over 1 lakh people have already been evacuated to safer areas, and teams continue to work round the clock to ensure that people can be moved to safer areas. The Prime Minister has also taken stock of the situation, is in touch with the State Chief Minister, who's also monitoring the situation very, very closely. But if you speak to experts on the ground, they would tell you that it's a possibility that Cyclone Biparjoy could be the worst that the state has seen in the last 25 years. Why is that? We'll speak to guests and we'll speak to colleagues on the ground as well. But first, let's just give you an overview of how things have been over the last 24 hours. As we pointed out, landfall is expected anywhere between 6 to 8 p.m. today evening. We're understanding the cyclone did change its direction for a bit, but now continues to approach the coast of Gujarat. So areas like Kutch and Saurashtra become very, very crucial. As I pointed out earlier, people who've been living in and around these areas, over 1 lakh people, they've already been evacuated. And no time has also been issued, which essentially means that there will be no commercial flights that will be flying. Only flights for rescue operation and evacuation will be in place. Pregnant women, people who have disabilities, they've also been moved to special areas. NDRF, SDRF teams, as I pointed out, already on the ground working round the clock to ensure that when that landfall happens, the impact is minimum. Let's also try and show you on the map of what is the current situation looking like. As I pointed out, we've been speaking to experts. They're saying that the cyclone is moving in the direction closer to the coast of Gujarat. So areas like Kutch and Saurashtra, as I pointed out, become very, very crucial. But as I pointed out, many experts also now worrying that the impact on the ground could be a lot and could be possibly the worst that we've seen in the last 25 years. As we pointed out earlier, over 45,000 individuals and many more have already been moved to temporary or shelter areas to try and ensure that the damage on the ground is minimum. The Chief Minister has also had multiple meetings. As I pointed out, the Prime Minister also keeping a close eye. All sorts of precautions have been taken. Rail traffic has been stopped. As I pointed out, for air traffic, a NOTAM has also been issued. Now waiting for the landfall to happen and then try and assess the damage that has happened on the ground. Let's also now bring in the NDRF of the DG NDRF, Atul Karwal, who in fact is now joining us on the broadcast to try and understand what is the kind of preparations that are being done on the ground before the landfall happens, and what are the kind of preparations that are being done to take care of the damage that happens after the landfall between 6 to 8 p.m. So thank you so much for taking our time and joining us here on CNN News 18. I want to first begin by understanding how far is the cyclone currently from the area where it's expected to make landfall and the direction in which it is moving.
Cyclone is moving at a speed of about 8 kilometers for its landfall, which is forecasted for sometime late evening today. The exact time is not known because it's been changing its speed over the past few hours. And we expect it to have a landfall towards late evening tonight.
Okay, so we're understanding late evening, anywhere between 6 to 8 p.m. is the expected time, possibly could change as well. So I want to now understand in terms of impact, which are the areas that are going to have the maximum impact?
Kutch district is likely to get the most impacted, bear the brunt of it. But other districts in Saurashtra would also have an impact. Devbhoomi, Dwarka, Jamnagar, Gir Somnath, Porbandar, Morbi and Rajkot also to some extent. So we have teams in all these places.
Okay. Essentially, sir, I also want to understand another aspect. When you speak to a lot of experts over the last couple of days, many of them are saying this could possibly be the worst cyclone that the state has seen in the last 20 to 25 years. What are your teams saying on the ground? What has your assessment been over the last 24 to 48 hours?
As of now, the wind speed is not very high. I think in Veradhan only wind speed is about 60 kilometers an hour.
Okay.
It's still less than 30, 35. That's about the average wind speed there. Not much of rainfall also till now. And we are hopeful that as it approaches land, the wind speed, which it is predicted as of now to from 115 to 125 kilometers an hour, might slow down a little bit. So it might lose some strength before it makes a landfall. Therefore, I feel that the preparations which are there on ground are adequate to respond to this situation, and we hope to minimize loss of life and property.
So you said the teams are prepared, all hands are on deck. So could you help us understand in terms of numbers, how many teams are currently working on the ground?
Okay. NDRF has 18 teams on ground. Initially, we had thought of deploying 12 in consultation with the state, but then we packed in 5 more teams in the affected area so that the reserves should be available right on hand if they are required. There's one more team down in Valsad, which is that we keep as a precaution for heavy rainfalls there. Plus, the State Disaster Response Force also has 12 teams in these areas, so total about 30 teams are there. Each team is about, in NDRF, 30-35 personnel strong, so about more than 500 rescuers are available on ground. Now, the state government had made an estimation of the vulnerable villages in the first 5 to 10 kilometers of the coastline, and also villages which are low-lying, which are likely to get inundated and flooded. And in collaboration with all organizations, especially the state government, which is the major role player, they have evacuated about 1 lakh people from these vulnerable areas to shelter places so that they don't get impacted.
Okay, so you're saying over 1 lakh people have already been moved and evacuated to safer areas, and your teams continue to monitor if any other people need to be moved as well. So in terms of the work that has already been done, we're also understanding some additional measures have been taken. For example, hoardings have been brought down. There have been special measures that have been taken for pregnant women. Could you talk to us about those additional measures as well?
Yes, the state government has done a very detailed study and listed of the action points which are required to be taken to mitigate the damage. You mentioned some of them. In addition to that, we have a large population of salt pan workers who harvest salt from the seawater, 6,000 plus. They also are being taken care of so that they don't get impacted.
Sure.
Along with that, they have made separate teams to respond to different kinds of crises. For example, the PWD, the Power Ministry, and those kind of professionals who will need to step in as soon as it passes through to bring the normal state of life back to roads, etc.
Okay.
I think about 889 teams are spread through the affected areas to ensure that as soon as it passes, we can clear up the roads, we can restore power and water connections and bring life back to normal.
Sure. That's exactly what I wanted to now understand, sir. You've already spoken to us about the kind of measures that have been taken before the landfall happens. What are the kind of measures that you're now taking to ensure that the damage is minimum after the landfall happens? What is the kind of teams that are working to ensure, to monitor people on the ground or to ascertain the damage as well?
So the teams which are deployed from NDRF and SDRF normally have this kind of array of equipment with them. One is to respond to emergencies such as flooding and drowning, which can happen. So we have all kinds of boat and life-saving equipment for aquatic disasters.
Okay.
We also equip ourselves with tools of entering into a collapsed structure, so that if a building collapses because of rainfall or otherwise, we are able to extricate people out of a collapsed building.
Sure.
We also have communication equipment that if the cell phone coverage stops because of any reason, though it's being planned in a manner that it should not stop, we are equipped with VSAT terminals, we are equipped with satellite phones, so communication will not go down. And we also have a lot of equipment to clear up fallen trees and fallen poles by cutting them so that we can clear up a passageway or restore electricity as soon as possible.
Sure. Sir, I just quickly want to go back to a point that you made a short while ago. You said over 1 lakh people have already been moved to shelter areas. So what are the kind of temporary arrangements that have been made for them? Because we still don't know how long will it be before they can go back to their houses or what the situation will be. So what is the kind of arrangements that have been made for people who are in these shelter areas?
The arrangements include all kinds of care and comfort, sleeping, equipment is in the sense is there. You have sleeping mats, you have sleeping bags, you have food arrangements, water, etc. So that
Sure.
whatever they might need should be made available so that they are in comfort and they are safe from the impact of the cyclone.
Absolutely. Sir, thank you so much for taking our time. I understand this must be a really busy time for you and your teams. Thank you so much for joining us here on CNN News 18. So there you heard from the DG NDRF talking to us about the number of teams that are working round the clock. He's confirmed to us that the landfall could happen anywhere between 6 to 8 p.m. this evening. He's also spoken to us about over 1 lakh people who've already been moved to shelter areas. And he's saying there are specific teams that will now swing into action once the landfall actually happens. So all possible precautions have been taken. People who are living in and around the areas, we've been saying this time and again, do stay indoors as an advisory for fishermen as well. Let's understand the ground situation. Let's also now bring in our colleague Yesha Kotak, who's also joining us on the broadcast. Yesha is in fact joining us from Mumbai. She's been tracking developments to try and understand if the impact is already over, what the advisory was given in Mumbai. She's joining us from the Bandra Worli ceiling. Yesha, because the landfall is expected around the Gujarat coast anywhere between 6 to 8 p.m. What are experts telling you? The impact for Mumbai already over?
Yes, the impact for Mumbai already seems to be over because we're expecting the landfall to take place around Gujarat anytime now. So here you see the seas, they have in fact become calm as compared to the last 2 days. In fact, until this morning, until say around 11 to 12 this morning, the sea was quite turbulent. In fact, the sea had swollen up, and apart from that, the waves were also flowing at a higher level than it would. We had in fact experienced a 5-meter high tide this morning around 11. But after that, the impact for Mumbai seems to have lessened. In fact, now you see, though there are wind, but the wind speed has also decreased substantially. For the last 2 days, the wind speed was anywhere close to 30 to 50 kilometers per hour, but now the wind speed is lesser. Also, we've seen that some of the prominent places, including in fact Haji Ali Dargah, which is in the sea, was shut for an hour this morning. But now things seem to be returning to normalcy here in Mumbai, at least considering that the impact here is over right from the sea to the wind as well. Apart from that, by tonight is when we'll expect that the impact around the coast would also, the restrictions around the coast rather, would also be lifted. Considering that until tonight, both at the Girgaon Chapati and at Juhu Chapati, tourist movement was restricted along coast, be it at Marine Drives, be it at Worli Sea Face where we are. Tourist movement was restricted at various locations, that is at Palghar and other areas in Maharashtra, which in fact are on the route towards Gujarat border. There were restrictions put in place there from June 13th onwards, because they were expecting that, the district administration, they were expecting that the impact, considering the cyclone was moving towards Gujarat, would be felt around those areas as well. But until tonight is where these restrictions would be put in place, post which...
Yesha, I apologize for interrupting. So Yesha is saying it looks like the impact of the cyclone has already crossed Mumbai. But let's bring in our colleague Vinay also, who in fact is joining us from Dwarkadish. Vinay, help us understand, what does the ground situation look like to you currently?
The ground situation in Dwarka is absolutely terrible right now. We are being lashed by heavy rains coupled with extremely high flowing winds. The gusty winds have also started. In fact, according to officials here, the wind speed has increased from over 70 kilometers per hour and above. As my video journalist Rajesh Sapre is showing you the visuals, you can see that barely anything is stable right now. It's difficult to stand properly. Trees are getting affected. Several pillars have come down. Electricity poles have come down. Even in residential properties, the hotels which are around this beach, glasses have started shattering. We have just some time ago seen lampposts come down. So clearly the destruction caused by Cyclone Biparjoy as it comes closer to landfall is being felt here at Dwarka, from where the winds are also passing in. Heavy winds have also been passing from here. Rains are lashing from almost all directions. There isn't a single specific direction in which the rains are coming from, and the winds have led to a surge. The seas have also started surging. We are closer to the beach, which is barely 50 meters away, but the visibility has got affected so much that it is. यहाँ पर हवाओं की रफ्तार काफी ज़्यादा है और अपने आप को संभालना बेहद मुश्किल हो रहा है, बेहद चुनौती ज़्यादा है। विकास, आप तस्वीरें दिखाइए, क्योंकि जिस तरीके की इस वक्त तस्वीरें हैं, आप देख सकते हैं कि यहाँ पर हवाओं की रफ्तार काफी ज़्यादा है। रौद्र रूप दिखाना इस तूफान ने शुरू कर दिया है। बिपरजॉय, जिसका मतलब ही आपदा है, आपदा लेकर के आया है। ये माना जा रहा था कि द्वारकाधीश में जो है ज्यादा तबाही होगी और ऐसा होना शुरू हो चुका है। यहाँ पर लहरों ने तांडव मचाना शुरू कर दिया है। कुदरत का रौद्र रूप देखने को मिल रहा है। तो हम ये तस्वीरें आप तक पहुँचा रहे हैं। कोशिश हम करेंगे। आप देखिए, तेज बारिश हो रही है यहाँ पर किस तरीके से। ये आप देखिए कि आगे ये जो लोहे के गेट हैं, ग्रिल्स हैं, ये टूट चुकी है पूरी तरीके से। यहाँ पर आप देखेंगे ये पेड़ किसी भी वक्त गिर सकता है, तो खतरा बहुत ज्यादा है। मेरे सहयोगी विकास ठाकुर आप तक तस्वीरें पहुँचा रहे हैं। और वाकई क्योंकि ये अपने आप में अनुभव अलग है और टीमें तैनात है, लेकिन जिस तरीके से हवाओं की रफ्तार है, क्योंकि हवाओं की रफ्तार पर ही सब कुछ डिपेंड करेगा और अभी तो समय है।
So we continue to show you how the ground situation is changing very quickly just before the landfall happens. Vinaya continues to report for us. Vinaya, we can understand it must be getting difficult for you to report as well, since landfall is expected in the next half an hour to 1 hour. Could you talk to us about the number of people who've been evacuated from these areas?
It's become almost impossible to stand here. The speed at which the winds have been blowing have been quite strong. In fact, it's even difficult to try and keep walking on this location. We are right now in Dwarka, where the speed of winds is making it impossible to even stand at a specific location and hold on to your position. My video journalist Rajesh Sapre and I, both of us, are finding it a bit difficult to keep standing and to keep holding grounds, even as the wind speed due to Cyclone Biparjoy as it comes close to a landfall has only been increased.
लेकिन मुझे तो एहसास अभी ही जलजले जैसा हो रहा है, जैसे जब भूकंप हम महसूस करते हैं, जिस तरीके से पोल हिलते हैं, पेड़ हिलते हैं, लाइट्स हिलती है, उस तरह का अभी ऐसा ही एहसास हो रहा है। तो ये आप देखिए कि कैसा नुकसान यहाँ पर हुआ है। यहाँ पर पूरी तरीके से सन्नाटा है, आपको कोई भी नजर नहीं आ रहा होगा क्योंकि सब लोग डरे हुए हैं, घरों के अंदर कैद हैं। कच्चे मकानों को तो नुकसान पहुँचेगा ही, क्योंकि जिनकी छप्पर होती है, जैसा कि कहा भी गया था, एडवाइजरी भी थी, लेकिन पक्के मकानों को भी नुकसान पहुँच सकता है। विकास, आप वो तस्वीर दिखाइए, ऊपर आप देखिए लाइटें ये गिर चुकी हैं। ऐसे में खतरा अभी बना हुआ है, ये तूफान कब शांत होगा। यानी कि आज की रात बहुत भारी है द्वारका के लोगों के लिए, कच्छ के लोगों के लिए। भारी बारिश इस वक्त हो रही है और ये द्वारका के लोगों के लिए अग्नि परीक्षा है, क्योंकि हम यहाँ पर मीडिया कर्मी रिपोर्टिंग कर रहे हैं, लेकिन जो एनडीआरएफ के जाबाज हैं, जो एसडीआरएफ की टीमें हैं, तमाम टीमें हैं, वो इस वक्त मौके पर मौजूद है ताकि किसी भी आपात स्थिति से निपटा जा सके। तो ये तस्वीरें इस वक्त हम आप तक पहुँचा रहे हैं। आप देखिए कि कैसे हवाओं का रुख है और हम भी बेहद सावधानी से आप तक ग्राउंड जीरो से ये तस्वीरें, वो जो दरवाजा है, विकास आप दिखाइए।
Rajesh Sapre is showing you the trees that are being impacted due to the cyclone. Also, we are right close to the seashore. As you can see, the barricading to the electric box that is there, even that is being shattered. It's being cemented to the ground, but that cement holding is also shattering due to the speed of the winds, as you can see here. So it's becoming increasingly difficult to stand and to give out information of the kind of mayhem that is being caused due to the cyclone. We are just a few meters away from the sea, but the visibility of the sea is also getting affected. If I can request my video journalist to show you, there's a tremendous swell in the sea. We can see the waves from where we are standing. The level of sea has risen in the last half an hour or so. Clearly it is not visible on camera because the visibility has taken a hit. But here at Devbhoomi Dwarka, from where cyclonic winds are passing, it's becoming increasingly difficult to hold on and to stand properly, as wind speeds have increased and so has the rainfall. In Kutch, where it's going to make a landfall in the next half an hour or so, massive evacuation drives have already taken place, and over 40,000 food packets have already been kept ready. Thousands of people have been moved to temporary shelters from low-lying areas and from places where it is expected that heavy rainfall will lead to inundation. We are trying to get you visuals from Devbhoomi Dwarka, which is right now completely shut due to the anticipated impact of Cyclone Biparjoy. Section 144 has already been imposed in the entire area. There is barely anybody on the streets due to the kind of anticipation of the impact of the cyclone. You can see that this particular pole is also wavering because of the cyclonic conditions. The tree here is, we can see a massive chunk of it is.
जितने भी तूफान आए हैं 1998 में जो कांडला था, उसमें 1000 से ज्यादा लोगों की जान चली गई थी, और अभी का जो मंजर है उस तरफ उफनती हुई लहरें हैं। लहरें मानो सब कुछ लेने पर उतारू है, सब कुछ लील लेने पर आमादा हो चुकी है। और ये आप देखिए, ये पेड़ ये किसी भी वक्त गिर सकता है। इसके अलावा अगर हम आपको दिखाएं तो यहाँ पर आपको कोई भी नजर नहीं आ रहा होगा। ये तस्वीर आप देखिए कि द्वारका से है, देवभूमि द्वारका, जहाँ पर एनडीआरएफ की टीमें इस वक्त मुस्तैद है, एसडीआरएफ की टीमें मुस्तैद है। देखिए कैसे यहाँ पर नुकसान पहुँच रहा है। ये गमला ये गिर चुका है, ये इसका बोर्ड गिर चुका है। कैसे सब कुछ हिल रहा है, जैसे ज़लज़ले जैसा एहसास हो रहा है जब भूकंप के झटके महसूस किए जाते हैं। आप देखिए कि यहाँ पर कोई भी आपको नजर नहीं आ रहा होगा और बेहद मुश्किल है आप तक खबर पहुँचाना और क्योंकि बोल नहीं पा रहे हैं, बैलेंस करना अपने आप को मुश्किल हो रहा है जब हवा की रफ्तार इतनी ज़्यादा होती है। क्योंकि अभी तक तो ऐसे तमाम वीडियोस देखे थे कि जब इस तरह का चक्रवात आता है तो मंजर क्या होता है, लेकिन ये आप समझिए कि इस वक्त द्वारका का ये हाल है। जहाँ पर मेरे सहयोगी जनक मौजूद है, जनक के पास मैं एक बार फिर से रुक करूँगी। जनक, बहुत मुश्किल है, चुनौती
आपके सवाल को मैं नहीं सुन पा रहा। यहाँ पर तेज हवाएं जिस तरीके से चल रही है, लेकिन मैं समझ रहा हूँ इस अनुभव की कोई बात कर रही थी आप, अनुभव वेके में मैंने भी कई साइक्लोन यहाँ पर कवर किए, लेकिन इस समय पर जो इस तरीके से तेज हवाओं के साथ, क्योंकि अब तक जो साइक्लोन रही या तो देर रात को या अर्ली मॉर्निंग आई, ये अभी शाम का वक्त है, और उस समय पर यहाँ से इतनी तेज हवाओं के साथ खासतौर पे 115 के 120 किलोमीटर, हालांकि वो इतनी फिलहाल अभी इतनी स्पीड नहीं होगी, लेकिन जब हिट होगा यानी कुछ ही घंटों में जब जखौ से यहाँ से गुजरेगा, उस वक्त उतनी ही 115 से 125 किलोमीटर प्रति घंटे की रफ्तार से हवाएं होगी। ऐसे में
up to the shoreline. So you know, the tidal activity has also increased. The wave length has, the wave size has increased. The winds have been continuously gushing past us. The beach, which is generally a very famous tourist destination, lies completely deserted. There were pillars on that bridge, and those pillars have fallen off due to the impact of the high winds. At present, we are being told that Dwarka has been experiencing wind speed of over 70 to 75 kilometers per hour. Remember, when Cyclone Biparjoy will make a landfall, the wind speed is slated to increase to 110 to 125 to 35 kilometers per hour. The umbrella on top of the Gandhi statue there is also moving. It's becoming increasingly risky to stand here because one never knows from which direction what will start flying. But these are the live visuals from Dwarka, where everything from electricity poles to statues to umbrellas on the statues to electricity boxes have started weakening, and you know, it's just like other things have been shattering. It's likely that you know, we can see some more destruction that will be caused by the cyclone. You can see that the gates there of this particular building are also not able to withstand the impact of the cyclone. The poles which are here are also moving. So the only thing that is possible right now is to take shelter possibly at some place. This is, you know, as you can see on your screen, at any moment this tree is going to fall down because of the impact of the cyclonic winds. It has not been able to withstand the impact of the high winds, and that is how you know, that is the situation here in Dwarka, where every minute, every passing minute, we are seeing that there's growing destruction, and you know, the sea levels are rising, the wind speed has been increasing, so has the rainfall been. So this is the situation here. Thankfully,
तो ये विकास आप तस्वीरें दिखा रहे हैं, देखिए किस तरीके से वो दरवाजा बिल्कुल अलग हो चुका है। ये ग्राउंड जीरो से आप तस्वीर देख लीजिए कि कैसे ये जो हवा की रफ्तार है इसने ये दरवाजे को तोड़ दिया है। कच्चे मकानों पर तो खतरा है, लेकिन जिस तरीके से इस वक्त माहौल है, जो पक्के मकान हैं उनको भी सबसे ज़्यादा खतरा है। घरों के शीशे पूरी तरीके से टूट चुके हैं, यहाँ पर ये गमले टूटे हुए नजर आ रहे हैं, और जितने भी स्ट्रक्चर्स हैं सब पर खतरा है। ऐसे में मुसीबत की ये घड़ी है, संकट का समय है, संकट बहुत बड़ा है, संकट सब कुछ लीन लेने पर उतारू है। और आप देखिए कि किस तरह की तस्वीर है इस वक्त देवभूमि द्वारका से, और जैसे जैसे समय नजदीक आ रहा है वैसे वैसे आप देखिए कि माहौल क्या हो रहा है। जो ये खंबे हैं किस तरीके से यहाँ पर हिल रहे हैं, क्योंकि जब भी कोई चक्रवात आता है, चाहे वो हम बिजली के खंभों की बात करें, टेलीफोन के खंभों की बात करें, कम्युनिकेशन बिल्कुल टूट जाता है, लैप्स हो जाता है। और ऐसी तस्वीर वाकई बहुत मुश्किल है। ये मैं अपने सहयोगी जनक का इस वक्त
Saurashtra and Kutch, we are all seeing that the impact of this cyclone will be felt by everyone in these regions. Lakhs of people are slated to get affected. Most importantly, what is important to see is the kind of damage that is expected to property, because as we have been trying to talk to the government officials as well, they say that the whole approach of the administration has been geared towards zero casualty, and that is why they're trying to make sure that there is no loss of life really during the cyclonic conditions. But when it comes to property, clearly it will be difficult right now to assess the kind of damage that they will face, but extremely difficult situations continuously here in Dwarka. Dramatic visuals of rise in the sea levels, of growing winds, and of exasperated faces around. You can see that the rainfall has abated a bit as of now, but continuously the wind speeds are high in this whole area. As of now, it seems like the authorities are in control of the situation. The electricity supply at several places is likely to get affected due to the cyclonic storm and the cyclonic winds. It is likely that road transport may be affected, though let me tell you that apart from trains, buses have also been shut down by the administration to make sure that people do not travel to different locations in such winds. All major tourist attractions, particularly Dwarkadish temple, which is a major attraction for the devotees, Somnath temple, have all been shut till 16, that is till tomorrow, to make sure that devotees don't throng these places and that the footfall at these places is reduced. Continuous monitoring of the situation is going on by teams of Navy, by NDRF, by the Army as well, which has been kept on the standby at several locations, including in Kutch. Right now, field recce and field surveys are continuously going on by the authorities to keep tabs on what is happening about the damage that is being caused by Cyclone Biparjoy. So, as we are standing here in Dwarka, where the wind speeds have picked up tremendously and where sea levels have also started rising quite dramatically, we are seeing that it has been increasingly difficult to you can see how frightening the sea has become really. There are tall waves, the kind of swell in the sea is quite unprecedented. If you could see those visuals.
और ये मांडवी इसलिए इम्पोर्टेंट है क्योंकि मांडवी से आगे जाखो और उससे आगे
zero to show you what kind of debilitating conditions there are during such a time when the cyclone's onslaught continues and when in the next few minutes the cyclone's landfall is expected. Let me show you the cloud formation as well. Clouds have started traveling really fast from here. It's not just an overcast sky.
जनक मौजूद है, मेरे सहयोगी जावेद मौजूद है, और इसके बाद जो है अगर हम बात करें पोरबंदर की, हम बात करें मोरबी की बात करें, हम बात करें जूनागढ़ की, हम बात करें राजकोट की, यहाँ पर भी खतरा बराबर बना हुआ है। एक बार फिर से विकास आप तस्वीरें दिखा दीजिए। कैसे अभी थोड़ी सी हवा की रफ्तार कम हुई है, ये राहत की बात है, लेकिन पल में एकदम से मौसम बदल रहा है। अचानक से भारी बारिश शुरू हो जा रही है, अचानक से बारिश रुक जा रही है, अचानक से हवा की रफ्तार तेज हो जा रही है, अचानक से खुद को संभालना बेहद मुश्किल हो जा रहा है। और एक कहते हैं कि अचानक से हवा का झोंका आता है और सब कुछ तबाह करके चला जाता है, ऐसा ही हुआ। हवा की रफ्तार इतनी ज्यादा थी कि यहाँ पर पेड़ गिर गए, जो ये दरवाजे थे, जो ये स्ट्रक्चर था, ये पूरी तरीके से उखड़ गया, ये गमले गिर गए, ऊपर जो लाइट्स लगी हुई है ये गिर गए, जो ये सामने होटल है उसके रिसेप्शन में झूमर गिर गया और सब कुछ तबाह करके उसके बाद रफ्तार अब थोड़ी कम हुई है। लेकिन अभी भी संकट गया नहीं है, संकट अभी बना हुआ है। हालांकि ये सब प्रार्थना कर रहे हैं क्योंकि देवभूमि है, ये भगवान कृष्ण की ये नगरी है कि संकट की घड़ी में वो सबको बचा ले। और हमने देखा कि द्वारकाधीश मंदिर में 2 ध्वज भी फहराए गए थे ताकि तूफान इस धर्म नगरी का कुछ भी नहीं बिगाड़ पाए, ऐसी उम्मीद की जा रही थी। लेकिन बहुत मुश्किल है। मेरे सहयोगी जावेद और जनक लगातार हमारे साथ बने हुए हैं। जनक, क्योंकि अभी हम देख रहे हैं कि अभी तक तो खतरा ये था कि सिर्फ कच्चे मकानों पर ऐसा होगा, लेकिन पक्के मकानों को भी काफी ज्यादा नुकसान पहुंच रहा है। तो अब कितना समय और लगेगा तूफान को शांत होने? जनक, आप तक आवाज पहुंच रही है?
मैं आपके सवाल को नहीं सुन पा रहा हूं यहाँ पर, चूंकि बहुत तेज हवाएं चल रही है। लेकिन आप समझ लीजिए कि ये अभी शुरुआत भर है। अभी 2 से 3 घंटे बाद इस इलाके से, खासतौर पर जखऊ जहाँ पर मैं हूँ और नलिया में अनुपमा, हम आपकी ये मांडवी में अनुपमा और जावेद हैं, वहाँ ये दोनों जखऊ और मांडवी के बीच से ये गुजरेगा और उस वक्त क्या स्थिति होगी ये अंदाज़ा लगा लीजिए आप। और ये शुरुआत भर है अभी, और ये लगभग 100 किलोमीटर प्रति घंटे की रफ्तार से हवाएं अभी फिलहाल चल रही है। वो 125 किलोमीटर प्रति घंटे की रफ्तार से हवाएं चलेगी और वो 2 से ढाई घंटा वक्त या 3 घंटे का वक्त अभी बाकी है। चूँकि किसी भी वक्त बताया जा रहा है, कोई एग्जैक्ट समय नहीं दिया गया है मौसम विभाग से, लेकिन किसी भी वक्त, अब से लेकर किसी भी वक्त शाम के रात के 9 बजे तक में किसी भी वक्त इस इलाके में ये साइक्लोन हिट कर सकता है और इसी और इसका खतरा बहुत
लगातार तेज हवाएं चल रही हैं, तूफानी हवाएं चल रही हैं। ऐसी हवाएं जो आपको डरा दे, डरावनी हवाएं। मैं आपको तस्वीर दिखाने की कोशिश करूंगा। मेरे कैमरा पर्सन पंकज गोसाई जो कि बहुत संवेदनशील और बहादुरी से हमें तस्वीरें दिखा रहे हैं, दर्शकों तक ये तस्वीरें पहुंचा रहे हैं। देखिए ज़रा आप स्थिति देख लीजिए, इस सड़क को आप देखिए और यहाँ पर जितने भी पेड़ हैं वो झुक जा रहे हैं। मांडवी किस लिए महत्वपूर्ण है ये हम बार बार बता रहे हैं क्योंकि ये एक शहरी इलाका है। ये शहरी इलाका, जैसा कि जनक बता रहे थे कि मांडवी से जाखू तक इसका एक दायरा रहेगा और मांडवी में एक अच्छी खासी आबादी है। तो ऐसे में जो सबसे बड़ा जो मकसद है सरकारों का वो ये है कि कोई भी जानी नुकसान ना हो, और उसकी आशंका मांडवी में इसलिए बनी हुई है क्योंकि बड़ी आबादी है। कई तटीय इलाके ऐसे हैं, कई गांव ऐसे हैं जिनको खाली कराया गया है एहतियातन, वहाँ टेम्परेरी स्ट्रक्चर है। तो वो एक पहलू है इस पूरे तूफान का। और अभी आप तस्वीरों में अगर देखेंगे तो हवाएं बहुत तेज चल रही है। मांडवी की अगर बात करें तो पोर्ट को पूरी तरह से बंद कर दिया गया है। अब से थोड़ी देर पहले हम पोर्ट से रिपोर्टिंग कर रहे थे। जो पोर्ट के इंचार्ज थे, जो मरीन इंजीनियर्स थे, उन्होंने हमें बताया कि अब से 1 घंटे बाद वहां रुकना मुश्किल है। तमाम मीडिया कर्मी वहां मौजूद थे, उनको वहां से हटा दिया गया सुरक्षा कारणों से। अब हम आपको समुद्र की तस्वीरें नहीं दिखा रहे हैं, समुद्र और उसके आसपास की स्थिति आप समझिए कि क्या होगी। वहाँ खड़े हो पाना मुश्किल होगा, लेकिन स्थिति शहरों के अंदर की हम आपको दिखा रहे हैं। और ये अभी कुछ एक वाहन यहाँ पर सड़कों पर भी नज़र आ रहे हैं और कुछ लोग खड़े हैं, बाइक से जा रहे हैं। ये देखिए, ये यहाँ पर तस्वीर देख लीजिए, दोनों तरफ आप देखेंगे मेरे पेड़ों को देखकर समझा जा सकता है कि स्थिति क्या बनने वाली है। जनक जिस तरह से बता रहे थे कि 100 किलोमीटर प्रति घंटा की रफ्तार से हवाएं चल रही हैं और जो अनुमान है
And our colleagues continue to bring you ground reports, helping us understand how the situation has drastically changed over the last 20 to 30 minutes and is expected to only get worse once the landfall does happen, anytime between 6 to 8 is what we are understanding. Vinaya continues to be with us. Vidya, fantastic reporting. You know, it's not easy for you, to be reporting in such conditions. Hats off to your video journalist as well. But could you help us understand the kind of, in numbers, the number of people who were in and around these areas who've been moved to safer areas, and the kind of impact of the cyclone that you're already seeing around you?
Well, yes, the impact of the cyclone has only been increasing as we have been trying to talk to you for the last half an hour, showing you the dramatic visuals here. In fact, my video journalist Ajay Sape, who is showing you all these visuals, we are right behind the seashore, and as you can see, the cyclonic conditions have led to a massive swell in the sea. We are seeing that waves are hitting on the shore at extremely high speeds. The kind of scary visuals of the sea that you can see in front of you right now, the very violent waves that are rushing towards the shore. It's difficult to see this kind of a scary nature of sea. The clouds have started forming around us. The skies are overcast, and the grey clouds, as you can possibly see on your screens, have also started moving very fast, and in one particular direction only. As the wind speeds increase and as the cloud formation increases, this clearly shows the kind of scary effect that Cyclone Biparjoy has when it is about to make a landfall any time now. This is Devbhoomi Dwarka, where we have been reporting for the last 2 days, and where climatic conditions have worsened dramatically in the last half an hour or so. In fact, if I can request my video journalist to show, these pillars were standing here till yesterday, and as you can see, they have been completely brought down now due to the impact of the wind. So one can imagine the speed of the wind within the next few minutes or so, when the cyclone is expected to make a landfall. We will see that the wind speed will increase to up to 125 to 135 kilometers per hour. Right now it has already crossed around 70 to 80 kilometers per hour. So things are becoming increasingly difficult here, and the visibility is also dropping. The sea level is rising. We have been trying to get to you the details of all the rescue and relief operations as well. Just an hour ago or something, we experienced another rescue operation, evacuation operation, I beg your pardon, that was undertaken by the NDRF, where around 60 to 70 persons were moved back to safety when they were residing in their shanties. One shudders to think what would have happened to them in this wind speed and in this lashing rainfall if they would have continued to stay in those shanties, which would have clearly not been able to bear the brunt of this cyclone, which is hitting the coast of Gujarat any time from now, and which is leading to crazy wind speeds and to incessant rains. Till now, at least 75,000 people from different coastal areas of Gujarat, from 2 zones. Firstly, those living in low-lying areas, and secondly, those living in kacha houses, have been moved to safe locations. Till yesterday, the administration was focusing on the range of 0 to 5 kilometers, where people residing in that range would have been taken to the safe locations of rescue centers. But yesterday the administration decided that even the second zone of 5 to 10 kilometers, they would try and rescue and move people. Accordingly, even from that zone, thousands of people have been moved to safety. Right now, we are being told at least 75,000 people from Gujarat's coastal areas are in the rescue centers. back in safety. Back to you. Several agencies, made the NDRF, SDRF, the state disaster, have all been entrusted with different parts of the highways in order to make sure that there is no repetition of effort and that there is coordination. At such times, the highway should stay clear. As of now, the bus services that come to these areas have been completely shut down. Public transport in terms of buses and railways has been affected. Western Railway has already announced closure of several railways, cancellation of several railways passing from this area and coming here. So several measures are being taken at present in order to make sure that the damage due to the cyclone is minimized. As Gujarat's Home Minister told us yesterday, that the instruction from the centre is that there should be zero casualty and all the efforts should be geared towards that. That is why, even before the landfall of Cyclone Biparjoy, which is expected to happen today evening between Kutch and Karachi, we are seeing that a lot of measures have been put in place. In fact, home guards have also been appointed at several locations in order to spread awareness among people. The standing instruction to people is they should stay indoors. In case of those who are living in kacha houses, they should immediately move to shelter homes which have been constructed by the government specifically in order to withstand the impact of natural calamities like the cyclones. Most importantly, the people should not stand near trees, near electricity poles or near any single structures which are weak and which may come down. So these are the kind of instructions that have been issued. People have been asked to stay ready for an electricity outage if need be as well. Hospitals have been asked to be on standby, specifically protocols which have been put in place in order to make sure that hospitals keep functioning even when there is electricity outage and there is enough blood supply to several hospitals. These are the several measures that have been put in place, not just in Dwarka, Devbhoomi Dwarka, where I am standing right now, but in several locations including Kutch, Mandvi, areas around Porbandar, also several places in Jamnagar which are low-lying and which received rainfall yesterday and day before have been kept on standby. So massive deployment that has taken place in several locations here. The NDRF has said that it is constantly watching over the situation and staying in touch with the district administration, which is coordinating efforts for making sure that there are no untoward incidents even as Cyclone Biparjoy makes its headway, even as it comes closer to the coast of Kutch, and as the climatic condition worsens here, not just in Dwarka but around Porbandar, Mandvi and Kutch area as well. So Saurashtra and Kutch have been put on red alert since yesterday. Other places are on orange alert, and rainfall is expected today. The wind speed is expected to continue to surge over the next few hours. In Devbhoomi Dwarka itself, where I am standing, the speed of wind has increased as compared to yesterday, though right now for a few moments we can see that there is a dip, but it is expected that the climatic situation will only worsen in the coming few hours before Cyclone Biparjoy makes a landfall by today evening at around 7 p.m. There was some rainfall that was happening till a while ago, but right now there is respite.
Well, CNN News 18's Vinay Deshpande is joining me live from Dwarka in Gujarat, and she is going to bring you all the latest developments from Ground Zero. Vinay, I hope you are safe there. Could you give us all the details from Ground Zero? Also, could you tell us about the key areas that are going to be affected apart from Gujarat?
Well, we can see that, as the cyclone is progressing towards the coast of Kutch, we are seeing that, more and more winds have started blowing. In fact, we are here in Devbhumi, Dwarka, where the wind speeds have increased substantially. So has the swell in the sea. Section 1 has been imposed in different parts of the coastal areas in order to make sure that people do not come out of their houses and are safe. Over 45,000 people who live in low-lying areas and who live in kacha houses have already been evacuated. As we heard that efforts are going on war footing, especially in places like Kutch, Mandvi, Jakhau Port, Dwarka, Porbandar, which are likely to take the brunt of the landfall of Cyclone Biparjoy. As we speak, the sea continues to swell, the wind speed has been increasing, and administration tells us that efforts are on to make sure that there are proactive steps that are being taken in order to minimize the damage that is likely to take place because of the cyclone. So we have seen that already people have been evacuated. Most importantly, several kacha constructions which are expected to get razed due to the impact of the cyclone. These kacha constructions are
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. Cyclone Biparjoy is expected to have a landfall anytime between 6 to 8 p.m. this evening. Wind speed has gathered pace. Rain and
सुरक्षित जगह पे जो लोग हैं उनको भी कोई तकलीफ ना हो उसकी बात को ध्यान रखा जा रहा है। तो यही सीवियर कैटेगरी का साइक्लोन जब आता है तब नुकसान बड़े पैमाने पर होता है। कैटेगरी 1 है इसकी, और अभी भी हालांकि ये कहा गया है दोपहर को कि थोड़ा उसका जो साइक्लोन की जो तेज हवाएं हैं वो 115, पहले 125 से 135 थी, वो अब 115 से 125 किलोमीटर प्रति घंटे होगी। लेकिन मैं जहां पर हूं, जसप्रीत, ये तस्वीर देखा दीजिए, ये कैमरामैन अनूप है मेरे, वो आपको तस्वीरें दिखाएंगे। देखिए पेड़ किस तरीके से, जो हवा का दबाव है, जिस तरीके से यहाँ पर इसकी गति है, रफ्तार है, वो रफ्तार ही दिखाती है कि यहाँ पर जो पेड़ है वो झुक जा रहे हैं।
Railways has been affected. Western Railway has already announced closure of several railways, cancellation of several railways passing from this area and coming here. So several measures are being taken at present in order to make sure that the damage due to the cyclone is minimized. As Gujarat's Home Minister told us yesterday that the instruction from the centre is that there should be zero casualty and all the efforts should be geared towards that. That is why, even before the landfall of Cyclone Biparjoy, which is expected to happen today evening between Kutch and Karachi, we are seeing that a lot of measures have been put in place. In fact, home guards have also been appointed at several locations in order to spread awareness among people. The standing instruction to people is they should stay indoors. In case of those who are living in kacha houses, they should immediately move to shelter homes which have been constructed by the government specifically in order to withstand the impact of natural calamities like the cyclones. Most importantly, the people should not stand near trees, near electricity poles or near any single structures which are weak and which may come down. So these are the kind of instructions that have been issued. People have been asked to stay ready for an electricity outage if need be as well. Hospitals have been asked to be on standby, specifically protocols which have been put in place in order to make sure that hospitals keep functioning even when there is electricity outage, and there is enough blood supply to several hospitals. These are the several measures that have been put in place, not just in Dwarka, Devbhoomi Dwarka, where I'm standing right now, but in several locations including Kutch, Mandvi, areas around Porbandar, also several places in Jamnagar which are low-lying and which received rainfall yesterday and day before have been kept on standby. So massive deployment that has taken place in several locations here. The NDRF has said that it is constantly watching over the situation and staying in touch with the district administration, which is coordinating efforts for making sure that there are no untoward incidents even as Cyclone Biparjoy makes its headway, even as it comes closer to the coast of Kutch, and as the climatic condition worsens here, not just in Dwarka but around Porbandar, Mandvi and Kutch area as well. So Saurashtra and Kutch have been put on red alert since yesterday. Other places are on orange alert, and rainfall is expected today. The wind speed is expected to continue to surge over the next few hours. In Devbhoomi Dwarka itself, where I'm standing, the speed of wind has increased as compared to yesterday, though right now for a few moments we can see that there is a dip, but it is expected that the climatic situation will only worsen in the coming few hours before Cyclone Biparjoy makes a landfall by today evening at around 7 p.m. There was some rainfall that was happening till a while ago, but right now there is respite.
Well, CNN News 18's Vinay Deshpande is joining me live from Dwarka in Gujarat, and she is going to bring you all the latest developments from Ground Zero. Vinay, I hope you are safe there. Could you give us all the details from Ground Zero? Also, could you tell us about the key areas that are going to be affected apart from Gujarat?
Well, we can see that, as the cyclone is progressing towards the coast of Kutch, we are seeing that, more and more winds have started blowing. In fact, we are here in Devbhoomi Dwarka, where the wind speeds have increased substantially. So has the swell in the sea. Section 1 has been imposed in different parts of the coastal areas in order to make sure that people do not come out of their houses and are safe. Over 45,000 people who live in low-lying areas and who live in kacha houses have already been evacuated. As we heard that efforts are going on war footing, especially in places like Kutch, Mandvi, Jakhau Port, Dwarka, Porbandar, which are likely to take the brunt of the landfall of Cyclone Biparjoy. As we speak, the sea continues to swell. The wind speed has been increasing, and administration tells us that efforts are on to make sure that there are proactive steps that are being taken in order to minimize the damage that is likely to take place because of the cyclone. So we have seen that already people have been evacuated. Most importantly, several kacha constructions which are expected to get raised due to the impact of the cyclone. These kacha constructions are not just evacuated, but also areas around them are being monitored. Around 100 electricity poles have come down since yesterday in Dwarka district alone, and the administration is trying to repair them. Most importantly, the 73 kilometers of highway which passes through different districts which are currently affected due to the onslaught of Cyclone Biparjoy. That entire stretch has been divided between several agencies which have been entrusted with the responsibility of upkeep, because it's expected that as the wind speed increases, trees might get uprooted, electricity poles.
Good evening, hello and welcome to Viewpoint. I'm Anusha Soni. We continue to track Cyclone Biparjoy, which is inching closer to the Gujarat coast and is likely to make a landfall very shortly. On your screen right now, these are the latest visuals that my colleagues are getting for you. My colleague Vinaya Deshpande, Navjot, reporting from the ground about the 350-kilometer long stretch, the western coastline of India and also the coastline of Pakistan is going to be affected. This is a tropical cyclone which has affected numerous districts and parts of Gujarat and Maharashtra, certain coastal regions. You already know that the NDRF and the SDRF teams have been deployed at various locations, and more than about 80,000 people have been relocated through safer zones. No loss of life reported so far. Unfortunately, the track record of India to deal with such cyclones in the past as well is something we'll see consistently here as well. There'd be damage to property, that's inevitable, but the administration, the state and the central government have pulled up their socks to ensure that there is no loss to the life that happens. On your screen right now, heavy winds followed by rainfall. That's the nature of a tropical cyclone which really works in. But how does this cyclone really look like? The eastern coastline and the western coastline of India is where traditionally the cyclones are. They are far more intense in the eastern coastline, but even in the western coastline along this coast, along the Arabian Sea, we have seen various cyclones in the last few years. You could look at this pressure area, these lines going around, that's the pressure area, and it's affecting parts of Gujarat, parts of Maharashtra and also parts of Pakistan. That's what it's going to do. That's how the cyclone is developing, and we are expecting in the next 2 hours, that's what the weather department has said. It's likely to make a landfall very, very shortly. As we told you earlier, red alert has been issued for Saurashtra and the Kutch coast today as Gujarat braces for one of the worst cyclones that has hit the state in the last 25 years. As we get you all the details here on CNN News 18, let's have a look at the ground reports which are coming in.
ज़्यादा मुश्किल है, आप लोग बता रहे थे कि महातबाही हो सकती है, मैं कहूँगी तबाही होनी शुरू हो चुकी है। ये तस्वीरें आप देख लीजिए, क्योंकि यहाँ पर हवाओं की रफ्तार काफी ज्यादा है और अपने आप को संभालना बेहद मुश्किल हो रहा है, बेहद चुनौती ज्यादा है। विकास, आप तस्वीरें दिखाइए, क्योंकि जिस तरीके की इस वक्त तस्वीरें हैं, आप देख सकते हैं कि यहाँ पर हवाओं की रफ्तार काफी ज्यादा है। रौद्र रूप दिखाना इस तूफान ने शुरू कर दिया है। बिपरजॉय, जिसका मतलब ही आपदा है, आपदा लेकर के आया है। ये माना जा रहा था कि द्वारकाधीश में जो है ज्यादा तबाही होगी और ऐसा होना शुरू हो चुका है। यहाँ पर लहरों ने तांडव मचाना शुरू कर दिया है, कुदरत का रौद्र रूप देखने को मिल रहा है। तो हम ये तस्वीरें आप तक पहुँचा रहे हैं, कोशिश हम करेंगे। आप देखिए तेज बारिश हो रही है यहाँ पर किस तरीके से। ये आप देखिए कि आगे ये जो लोहे के गेट हैं, ग्रिल्स हैं, ये टूट चुकी है पूरी तरीके से। यहाँ पर आप देखेंगे ये पेड़ किसी भी वक्त गिर सकता है, तो खतरा बहुत ज्यादा है। मेरे सहयोगी विकास ठाकुर आप तक तस्वीरें पहुँचा रहे हैं और वाकई क्योंकि ये अपने आप में अनुभव अलग है और टीमें तैनात है, लेकिन जिस तरीके से हवाओं की रफ्तार है, क्योंकि हवाओं की रफ्तार पर ही सब कुछ डिपेंड करेगा। और अभी तो समय है, लैंडफॉल में समय है, लेकिन उससे पहले ही यहाँ पर कुदरत का रौद्र रूप देखने को मिल रहा है। ये जो लोग अभी देख रहे हैं, ये बहुत बड़ा खतरा है जिसको लेकर के केंद्र सरकार तैयार है, गुजरात सरकार पूरी तरीके से तैयार है और ये तस्वीरें हम आप तक पहुँचा रहे हैं। आप देखिए कि द्वारका वो जिला जो सबसे ज्यादा प्रभावित साबित हुआ है, क्योंकि जो सैटेलाइट के जरिए तस्वीरें सामने आई थी, जो इस वक्त तकनीक है, उस तकनीक के जरिए सब कुछ देखा जा सकता है। मुझे 1998 का जो कांडला बंदरगाह पर तूफान आया था, वो तस्वीरें मैंने देखी, वो तस्वीरें देखी और अपने अनुभव कर पा रही हूँ कि जो चक्रवात को वेरी सीवर कैटेगरी में रखा गया था, उसका मतलब क्या होता है, इसको इतना बड़ा खतरा क्यों कहा जा रहा था, ये अब हम महसूस कर पा रहे हैं। और यहाँ पर कल्पना नहीं थी कि ऐसा मंजर होगा।
We are right now in Dwarka, where the speed of winds is making it impossible to even stand at a specific location and hold on to your position. My video journalist Rajesh Sapre and I, both of us, are finding it a bit difficult to keep standing and to keep holding grounds, even as the wind speed due to Cyclone Biparjoy, as it comes close to a landfall, has only been increasing. Over 75,000 people have been moved to safety till now, is what NDRF says. Of them, close to 10,000 from Dwarka alone, the place where I am right now. Let us try and show you the visuals around this place. This is Dwarka, where you're continuously seeing heavy rainfall. You know, all the pots have come down and fallen and broken. There's a pillar that was standing here, which you can see right now, has come down. The tin sheds that are there on this particular hotel and establishment, you know, we can see that the bamboo which is holding those tarpaulin sheets is already loosening up. The flow of the wind as well as the incessant rainfall. You can see the impact of it all due to Cyclone Biparjoy as it comes closer to a landfall. My video journalist Rajesh Sapre is showing you the trees that are being impacted due to the cyclone. Also, you know, we are right close to the seashore. As you can see, the barricading to the electric box that is there, even that is being shattered. It's being cemented to the ground, but that cement holding is also shattering due to the speed of the winds, as you can see here. So it's becoming increasingly difficult to stand and to give out information of the kind of mayhem that is being caused due to the cyclone. We are just a few meters away from the sea, but the visibility of the sea is also getting affected. If I can request my video journalist to show you, there's a tremendous swell in the sea. We can see the waves from where we are standing. The level of sea has risen.
मांडवी में इस वक्त जो स्थिति है वो बेहद खराब हो रही है। मांडवी की तस्वीर हम आपको दिखा रहे हैं। देखिए, बहुत तेज बारिश यहाँ पर अब शुरू हो गई है। मैं तस्वीर आपको दिखाना चाहूँगा। ये देखिए किस तरह से ये पूरी सड़क जो है वो खाली है। आपको सिर्फ एक कार नज़र आएगी और बारिश इतनी ज़्यादा है कि इस पूरी सड़क पर आपको धुंध नज़र आएगा। यहाँ देखिए हवा बहुत तेज़ चल रही है। यहाँ खड़े हो पाना बहुत मुश्किल हो पा रहा है। और देखिए, मैं अपने कैमरा पर्सन पंकज से कहूँगा कि ज़रा दिखाएं वो हवाओं को, पेड़ के ज़रिए दिखाएं कि किस तरह से जो पेड़ हैं, बड़े बड़े पेड़ हैं, वो किस तरह से हिल रहे हैं, झुक रहे हैं बाकायदा। ये देखिए, तस्वीर देखिए ज़रा, ये देखिए, बहुत स्थिति अब हम शहर की दिखा रहे हैं। ये स्पीड, बहुत ज़्यादा स्पीड है विंड्स की। ये विंड की स्पीड बहुत ज़्यादा नज़र आ रही है। और देखिए, लोग यहाँ, कुछ लोग सड़क पर चल रहे थे, वो किस तरह से यहाँ पर एक तरफ खड़े हो गए सड़क से बचने, इस बारिश और हवा से बचने के लिए। ये देखिए, यहाँ कुछ महिलाएं और बच्चे जो हैं वो सड़क के किनारे छिपे हुए हैं, लेकिन हम स्थिति यहाँ पर दिखा रहे हैं कि क्या हालात यहाँ पर हैं, क्योंकि जिस जगह हम मौजूद हैं अब यहाँ शहरों में वो असर दिखना शुरू हो गया है जिस बात की आशंका थी। आशंका ये थी कि तूफान जब आएगा तो नुकसान हो सकता है, और वो अब यहाँ पर उसकी जो तस्वीरें हैं वो दिखनी इसलिए शुरू हो गई क्योंकि हवा बहुत तेज़ है। इनमें सबसे ज़्यादा जो नुकसान होता है वो कच्चे घरों को होता है, जो टेम्परेरी स्ट्रक्चर होते हैं उसको बहुत ज़्यादा नुकसान होता है। आप ज़रा ये इस सड़क को देखिए, पूरी तरह से ये सड़क खाली है, पूरा शहर बंद है। कुछ एक लोग हैं जो इन सड़कों पर निकल रहे हैं, या तो कहीं से जा रहे हैं, या फिर मीडिया के लोग इन इलाकों में घूम रहे रिपोर्टिंग के लिए। लेकिन यहाँ आप देखेंगे सब जो पूरे मार्केट है, जो होटल्स हैं, वो सब आपको बंद नजर आएंगे।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल जसप्रीत, आपके सवाल को मैं नहीं सुन पा रहा। यहाँ पर तेज हवाएं जिस तरीके से चल रही है, लेकिन मैं समझ रहा हूँ इस अनुभव की कोई बात कर रही थी आप। अनुभव वेके में मैंने भी कई साइक्लोन यहाँ पर कवर किए, लेकिन इस समय पर जो इस तरीके से तेज हवाओं के साथ, क्योंकि अब तक जो साइक्लोन रही या तो देर रात को या अर्ली मॉर्निंग आई, ये अभी शाम का वक्त है, और उस समय पर यहाँ से इतनी तेज हवाओं के साथ खासतौर पे 115 के 120 किलोमीटर, हालांकि वो इतनी फिलहाल अभी इतनी स्पीड नहीं होगी, लेकिन जब हिट होगा यानी कुछ ही घंटों में जब जखौ से यहाँ से गुजरेगा उस वक्त उतनी ही 115 से 125 किलोमीटर प्रति घंटे की रफ्तार से हवाएं होगी। ऐसे में मुश्किल होता है, वहाँ पर कोई भी स्ट्रक्चर, कच्चा स्ट्रक्चर उसके सामने नहीं खड़ा रह पाता। आसपास के इलाकों में चाहे पेट्रोल पंप हो, चाहे बाकी जो जरूरी जो चीज़ें थी, जो बेचने वाली चीज़ें थी, वो सबको यहाँ पर फिलहाल बंद करा दिया है। देखिए यहाँ पर किस हद तक हवाएं चल रही है।
Jakau Port, that's where Cyclone Biparjoy is expected to make a landfall. The visuals on your screen right now, my colleagues getting you this story as it progresses. Well, from the time in the 90s when any kind of cyclone of this nature, whether in the east coast or in the west coast, claims hundreds or sometimes thousands of lives, to a point where we have safely evacuated 75,000 people to safe locations. It's a story of how India's disaster management system has progressively responded in a very efficient manner. All the areas which are directly under the red alert have been evacuated. People have been moved to safer locations. As I said earlier, red alert has been issued for Saurashtra, Kutch coast in the state of Gujarat that braces for one of the worst cyclones that the state has seen in the last 25 years. The authorities, as I said, successfully relocated individuals. The loss of property is something that one cannot avert. But as far as the loss of life is concerned, that has been completely controlled. And that is exactly something that has been the trajectory of India in the last 10 to 15 years. Once again, cutting across to some ground reports.
बिपरजॉय साइक्लोन कच्छ के जखौ में लैंड होने की संभावना जताई है। दोपहर के बाद ये प्रोसेस शुरू होगी। इससे पहले आप देख सकते हैं कि द्वारका का इलाका है जो इफेक्ट होने वाला है, और साइक्लोन बिपरजॉय की वजह से हवाएं तेजी से चल रही है, तेजी से बारिश भी हो रही है, और आप देख सकते हैं कि पूरा माहौल, ये जो द्वारका का बीच है जहां लोग आते जाते रहे, लेकिन आज ये हालत देख सकते हैं, उससे अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं कि अभी तो शुरुआत ही नहीं हुई। इससे पहले ये द्वारका में तेजी से हवा चल रही है, और जो यहाँ से प्रशासन ने पूरी तैयारी करके रखी है, जो साइक्लोन से पहले जो करना था काम वो भी खत्म कर दिया है, और साइक्लोन के बाद भी जो करना है उसके लिए भी प्रिपरेशन करके रखी है। लेकिन आज दोपहर के बाद 5 बजे के बाद लैंडिंग प्रोसेस शुरू होने की संभावना है, लेकिन बिपरजॉय थोड़ा स्लो हो गया है और जखौ के आसपास वो लैंडिंग करने वाला है।
Well, as the cyclone is inching closer to the Gujarat coast, the Indian Coast Guard has also made all the arrangements to deal with any untoward incident, God forbid. Weather warning broadcasts will be done by the ICG ships. There are aircrafts, radar stations to warn all the mariners. It has been ensured that all the fishing boats in the area, especially the areas which are most vulnerable, are returned to safer locations. Oil handling agencies, because it directly affects the Arabian Sea. All oil handling agencies were also sensitized to prepare for contingencies. 15 ships are ready at multiple locations at different configuration. And as I said, the Indian Coast Guard has taken stock of the entire preparedness. Helicopter operation facilities have been activated, especially at Okla, Jakhau and Vadinar areas for quick response in the Kutch district. Cutting across to my colleague Vinaya Deshpande. Vinaya, help us understand what's happening on the ground. How severe is the storm right now?
But right now the situation is really worsened. We can see that the wind speed has continuously been growing. Rainfall has been growing. I am here at Dwarka.
All right, Vinaya, take care as you report all the details and developments.
Dwarka, and as you can see, it is impossible to maintain our balance. We can see that the poles have come down, the gates have come crashing. There is heavy destruction everywhere. The wind speeds are almost impossible to sustain right now. My video journalist Ajay Sapre is showing you all the dramatic visuals of the action on field as Biparjoy continues to close in towards the landfall on the coast of Gujarat. We are seeing that there is massive destruction around everywhere. The speed of the wind has only been growing incessantly. Even bigger vehicles are finding it difficult to navigate through this. We are trying to get you the ground situation here. And we are seeing that there is a continuous surge in the wind speed. As of now, authorities tell us that over 75,000 people have been rescued to safety. But, Section 134 has been enforced in several low-lying areas, certain coastal areas of Gujarat. Coming close to a landfall. I don't know if you can hear.
I can hear you just fine. I can hear you just fine, Vinaya. We see your reporting and also the reporting that your video journalist is putting forward. Please go ahead. We continue to listen to your reporter.
It's really difficult to stand steady at this location. You're seeing that the wind speeds have been rising very, very fast, leading to a massive destruction. On your screen, the dramatic visuals of the destruction that is being caused.
My colleague Vinaya Deshpande reporting from the ground. These are winds which can be up to 150 kilometers per hour. About a 350-kilometer long stretch has been affected along the western coast of India. It also includes certain parts of Pakistan. We showed you that on the map. The disturbances that have been building in. Vinaya Deshpande reporting from Dwarka in Gujarat. And imagine a situation and a scenario where a person is finding it very difficult to stand because the wind speed is very high. These are, of course, very challenging situations for any journalist to report into. Vinaya, I'm coming back to you. We can see you in the visuals, how difficult the situation is right now. Talk us through these visuals. So we continue to stay with the visuals that Vinaya is sending us, and because of the bad weather conditions, we seem to have lost the audio of Vinaya Deshpande. But imagine the work that the video journalist has to do at this point in time. When you can't stand steady, it's a camera that has to stand steady in the winds which are blowing so fast. The areas around, you can see they have been affected. The trees will tell you the speed of the wind and the kind of evacuation operations that have been done by the authorities in the vicinity. Vinaya Deshpande reporting that's the area where the cyclone is expected to make a landfall. My colleague Navjot is also reporting from the ground. There are strong winds. Homes have been damaged. Storm intensifies as we talk you through these visuals emerging from the coast of Gujarat. The authorities have been put on a very high alert. Strong winds, heavy rains have lashed parts of Gujarat as Cyclone Biparjoy approached the coast of the state and is likely to make a landfall very, very soon. Once again, dipping into the ground reports.
मुश्किल है। आप लोग बता रहे थे कि महातबाही हो सकती है, मैं कहूँगी तबाही होनी शुरू हो चुकी है। ये तस्वीरें आप देख लीजिए, क्योंकि यहाँ पर हवाओं की रफ्तार काफी ज्यादा है और अपने आप को संभालना बेहद मुश्किल हो रहा है, बेहद चुनौती ज्यादा है। विकास, आप तस्वीरें दिखाइए, क्योंकि जिस तरीके की इस वक्त तस्वीरें हैं आप देख सकते हैं कि यहाँ पर हवाओं की रफ्तार काफी ज्यादा है। रौद्र रूप दिखाना इस तूफान ने शुरू कर दिया है। बिपरजॉय, जिसका मतलब ही आपदा है, आपदा लेकर के आया है। ये माना जा रहा था कि द्वारकाधीश में जो है ज्यादा तबाही होगी और ऐसा होना शुरू हो चुका है। यहाँ पर लहरों ने तांडव मचाना शुरू कर दिया है, कुदरत का रौद्र रूप देखने को मिल रहा है। तो हम ये तस्वीरें आप तक पहुँचा रहे हैं, कोशिश हम करेंगे। आप देखिए तेज बारिश हो रही है यहाँ पर किस तरीके से। ये आप देखिए कि आगे ये जो लोहे के गेट हैं, ग्रिल्स हैं, ये टूट चुकी है पूरी तरीके से। यहाँ पर आप देखेंगे ये पेड़ किसी भी वक्त गिर सकता है, तो खतरा बहुत ज्यादा है। मेरे सहयोगी विकास ठाकुर आप तक तस्वीरें पहुँचा रहे हैं और वाकई क्योंकि ये अपने आप में अनुभव अलग है और टीमें तैनात है, लेकिन जिस तरीके से हवाओं की रफ्तार है, क्योंकि हवाओं की रफ्तार पर ही सब कुछ डिपेंड करेगा। और अभी तो समय है, लैंडफॉल में समय है, लेकिन उससे पहले ही यहाँ पर कुदरत का रौद्र रूप देखने को मिल रहा है। ये जो लोग अभी देख रहे हैं, ये बहुत बड़ा खतरा है जिसको लेकर के केंद्र सरकार तैयार है, गुजरात सरकार पूरी तरीके से तैयार है और ये तस्वीरें हम आप तक पहुँचा रहे हैं। आप देखिए कि द्वारका वो जिला जो सबसे ज्यादा प्रभावित हो सकता था, जैसा कि मौसम विभाग का अनुमान था, और यह अनुमान बिल्कुल सही साबित हुआ है, क्योंकि जो सैटेलाइट के जरिए तस्वीरें सामने आई थी, जो इस वक्त तकनीक है, उस तकनीक के जरिए सब कुछ देखा जा सकता है। मुझे 1998 का जो कांडला बंदरगाह पर तूफान आया था, वो तस्वीरें मैंने देखी, वो तस्वीरें देखी और अब मैं अनुभव कर पा रही हूँ कि जो चक्रवात को वेरी सीवर कैटेगरी में रखा गया था, उसका मतलब क्या होता है, इसको इतना बड़ा खतरा क्यों कहा जा रहा था, ये अब हम महसूस कर पा रहे हैं। और यहाँ पर कल्पना नहीं थी कि ऐसा मंजर होगा।
Different parts and districts of Gujarat have been affected. Those are the visuals coming in from different parts. There's a close watch that the Indian Coast Guard has also maintained along the western coast. There are helicopters and different facilities that have been set up. One has also ensured that there are no ships or any kind of maritime activity which is happening at this point in time. Over 70 to 80,000 people have been moved to safer locations. Biparjoy is very soon expected to make a landfall, and the disaster management system here in India has responded very efficiently. We'll continue tracking the story here on CNN News 18. The visuals on your screen right now. We're slipping into a very short break.
Are likely to take the brunt of the landfall of Cyclone Biparjoy. As we speak, the sea continues to swell, the wind speed has been increasing, and administration tells us that efforts are on to make sure that there are proactive steps that are being taken in order to minimize the damage that is likely to take place because of the cyclone. So we have seen that already people have been evacuated. Most importantly, several kacha constructions which are expected to get razed due to the impact of the cyclone. These kacha constructions are not just evacuated, but also areas around them are being monitored. Around 100 electricity poles have come down since yesterday in Dwarka district alone, and the administration is trying to repair them. Most importantly, the 73 kilometers of highway which passes through different districts which are currently affected due to the onslaught of Cyclone Biparjoy. That entire stretch has been divided between several agencies which have been entrusted with the responsibility of upkeep, because it's expected that as the wind speed increases, trees might get uprooted, electricity poles may come down, holdings may come down. thereby causing some disturbance for road transport at such crucial juncture. It is important to have the arterial roads open for transport and communication, and that is why several agencies, made the NDRF, SDRF, the state disaster, have all been entrusted with different parts of the highways in order to make sure that there is no repetition of effort and that there is coordination. At such times, the highway should stay clear. As of now, the bus services that come to these areas have been completely shut down. Public transport in terms of buses and railways has been affected. Western Railway has already announced closure of several railways, cancellation of several railways passing from this area and coming here. So several measures are being taken at present in order to make sure that the damage due to the cyclone is minimized. As Gujarat's Home Minister told us yesterday, that the instruction from the centre is that there should be zero casualty and all the efforts should be geared towards that. That is why, even before the landfall of Cyclone Biparjoy, which is expected to happen today evening between Kutch and Karachi, we are seeing that a lot of measures have been put in place. In fact, home guards have also been appointed at several locations in order to spread awareness among people. The standing instruction to people is they should stay indoors. In case of those who are living in kacha houses, they should immediately move to shelter homes which have been constructed by the government specifically in order to withstand the impact of natural calamities like the cyclones. Most importantly, the people should not stand near trees, near electricity poles or near any single structures which are weak and which may come down. So these are the kind of instructions that have been issued. People have been asked to stay ready for an electricity outage if need be as well. Hospitals have been asked to be on standby, specifically protocols which have been put in place in order to make sure that hospitals keep functioning even when there is electricity outage and there is enough blood supply to several hospitals. These are the several measures that have been put in place, not just in Dwarka, Devbhoomi Dwarka, where I am standing right now, but in several locations including Kutch, Mandvi, areas around Porbandar, also several places in Jamnagar which are low-lying and which received rainfall yesterday and day before.